Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So, today we are going to start our introduction to medical ultrasound. This course is meant for those people who are starting ultrasound practice for the first time. So, it will be basic ultrasound that you can follow and appreciate and understand. So, the first thing that we are supposed to know is an understanding of what medical ultrasound is. So medical ultrasound, also called ultrasonography or sonography, is a non-invasive diagnostic imaging technique that uses high-frequency sound waves, typically in the range of 2 to 18 megahertz, to create real-time images of the inside of the body. So this modality is different from other modalities that you know, because in this case we are using ultrasound to create the images, unlike your X-rays where you are using your radiation, unlike magnetic resonance imaging where you're using your magnets. So it is one of the most widely used imaging modalities in modern medicine because it is safe, versatile, and does not involve ionizing radiation. So these are some of the benefits of medical ultrasound. So as I said before, unlike X-rays or CT scans, ultrasound relies on acoustic energy rather than electromagnetic radiation. So now let's move on to the basic physics principles. So sound wave propagation. So ultrasound waves travel through soft tissue at an average speed of approximately 1,540 meters per second. So this velocity is very critical in the formulation of the images. The speed at which sound moves helps us to acquire an image in the shortest period of time. So we are going to discuss a little bit on this physics and elaborate a little bit more, but for now you must appreciate that the speed at which sound travels in soft tissue is 1,540 meters per second. That's the average sound speed. So the piezoelectric effect. So this piezoelectric effect is the concept, the physics concept that actually helps us to use our machines to produce the images that we see. So the ultrasound transducer, that's all the probes. I will show you the probes when we start to do the lecture in depth, contains piezoelectric crystals that convert electrical energy into mechanical vibration, sound waves, and vice versa. So you know sound is produced through vibration from your basic understanding of science. So it is that vibration now that is produced by the electrical energy or the signal that causes or that produces sound that we use now to acquire our images. So the echo formation, when sound waves encounter tissue interfaces with the different acoustic impedances, part of the wave is reflected back as an echo. The machine measures the time taken for the echo to retain intensity to construct the image. So this is the principle that we use to generate our images, the echo formation or the goal return time. So what happens is when you produce a sound wave, it goes into the tissue and part of it is transmitted and part is reflected back. So the intensity that is reflected back, the sound that is reflected back, is the one that's going to be coded. The intensity of the signal that is coming is the one that's going to be coded by the transducer and converted into electrical signals that can be displayed as an image. We are going to delve more on this when we are going into the deep depth of how we produce our image. So you must understand that the physics or the principle that we have is the sound that we produce or that is returned back that is used to produce the image depending on the intensity of that signal that is coming back. So we do have got different image modes that we can see on the screen or that which are displayed on the screen. So traditionally we've got what's called the amplitude or the A mode. which is the amplitude mode. This is the simplest used historically. So these ones were graphs. I'll show you how they look like when we start the nomology thing, and then you can see how they look like. But we are still using these ones basically for the cardiac imaging, but the ocular imaging, sorry, on the eye. But we rarely use these ones nowadays because technology is advanced. So the B mode, that's the brightest mode, most common 2D grayscale image seen in practice. So this is the common type of image that we see, the grayscale image that we use. So we use basically this one to make much of our ultrasound imaging. So you've got the A mode, which is the motion mode. This is used for recording motion over time, e.g. in cardiac valves. So when we have got structures which are moving, so we use what is called the motion mode. You will see this as we progress out with our lectures. So we also have Doppler ultrasound, which measures blood flow, velocity, and direction, color Doppler, pulsed wave, continuous Doppler wave, and then the power Doppler. So these are the variations or the differences, the different types of Doppler ultrasound that we can employ. We'll see these ones with time. So also with now advanced 3D, 4D ultrasound with elastography, contrast enhanced ultrasound. So during the course of our practice, you are going to come across these different types of modes of ultrasound images. So here, this brings us now to the very critical part of ultrasound practice. So we do have got the frequency versus the resolution versus the penetration. This is the key trade-off. This is very critical in terms of the choice of the transducer or the probe that you're going to use when you're doing your ultrasound. So the higher the frequency, the better the resolution, but less penetration depth. So you're going to see that the linear probes that we use with higher frequency, they produce images of high quality, but they only see a limited depth. You don't see deeper structures using these types of transducers. So the lower the frequency, the deeper the penetration, but the lower the resolution. So those structures which are deep, like when we're doing the abdomen or checking the abdominal organs, we are going to use a lower frequency because we need to see all the organs all the way, even the aorta, the back, the pancreas. But the resolution or the picture quality of those are not as high as you do with superficial structures, especially when doing the musculoskeletal surveys. So you ought also to know a brief history of ultrasound. Where is it coming from? So for every practitioner who is going to be doing ultrasound must have a brief understanding or appreciation of where we are coming from. So in 1940s and to the 1950s, early experiment with the industrial sonar applied to medicine. That's when it started. So in 1958, Ian Donald and colleagues published a landmark paper on obstetric ultrasound. So it was in 1960 to 1970 that real-time scanners developed and they became standard in obstetrics. So in 1980 onwards, Doppler, color flow, 3D imaging revolutionized to different applications. So today we now have got portable handheld devices and AI-generated image analysis are expanding access to the practice of medical ultrasound. So this is the brief history of where we're coming from. So you're seeing from the 1940s, that's when the invention of ultrasound started. So what are the main clinical applications of medical ultrasound? So these obstetrics and gynecology, fetal monitoring, dating, anomaly scans, placental assessment, these are very common nowadays. So we are going to do all the applications during the course of the program. So you must stay tuned. So we also have got abdomen, pelvis, liver, gallbladder, kidney, spleen, pancreas, bladder, and the prostate assessment. We have also cardiology, echocardiography, heart structure, function, valves, pericardial effusion. We also with vascular, carotid arteries, deep vein thrombosis, arterial stenosis. We also with musculoskeletal applications, tendons, ligaments, joints, soft tissue masses. So ultrasound in emergency medicine, what we call fast exams. So this is a rapid assessment for free fluid in trauma. Then we also got current interventional techniques, ultrasound guided biopsies, injection, vascular access. Then also with the point of care ultrasound, which is focused, growing use at bedside by non-radiologists. So these are some of the applications of medical ultrasound. So during the course of our training, we are going to be doing region by region, and you see how we develop the practice of ultrasound as we go. So what are the advantages of medical ultrasound? So real-time imaging. So you can do your ultrasound scan as you see exactly the structures in real time. So, so no ionizing radiation, safe for pregnant patients and repeated use. So portable and relatively inexpensive as compared to other modalities. Excellent soft tissue contrast in many areas. So we can also have dynamic assessment, e.g., movement of blood and other tissues. So you can see the blood flow in real time. Unlike when you're doing the X-rays, you just take a static image that you can see the movement of structures or the blood inside the human body. But ultrasound is without its own challenges. So the limitations and challenges of ultrasound, highly operator dependent, skill and experience matter greatly. So this is what then matters. That's why you're here, because you can't just practice ultrasound without the expertise or without the training. So limited bone and air, poor penetration through lungs, bowel, gas, and the skull. So you cannot use ultrasound to check the deeper structures of the bones. So in that case, we are limited. Image quality affected by patient body habitus, obesity. So the bigger the body, the more the fat, so the more it becomes difficult for you to visualize the structures with ultrasound. Limited field of view compared to CT or MRI. Potential for artifacts, reverberation, shadowing, and enhancement. So we are going to also discuss on the ultrasound artifacts. So in as much as we say ultrasound is relatively safe, it is its own documented limitations that we, or the safety consideration that you have to put in cognizance when you're practicing. Ultrasound is generally considered very safe. The main concerns are thermal effect, tissue heating. So when you expose the patient to a prolonged contact with the probe, it can start causing tissue heating, and it can also cause mechanical effects, which cause cavitation, where you can have bubbles forming within the tissue. So this is part of the safety consideration that you have to take into consideration. So you must limit the time of exposure to the probe as much as you can. So regulatory bodies, e.g., FDA, WFUMB, provide guidelines on mechanical index and thermal index to minimize risk, especially in fetal imaging. No confirmed adverse effects in a diagnostic use at the standard setting. So we just must have these precautions, uh, even if there are no documented side effects in terms of ultrasound exposure. So if you want to read more, you can look at the guidelines in terms of FDA, WFUMB. You can Google this, then you can read on the mechanical index and thermal index uh, effects of their effects in the practice of medical ultrasound. So here are the common transducer types that we are going to be using, or that we use in different departments. With the linear, this is high frequency superficial structures, mostly for those small parts, and the MSK, we use this type of a transducer. Though you have got the convex or the curved. This is mostly for abdominal and obstetric use. Then with the phased array or the sector, which is for cardiac and intercostal applications. Also with the endocavital or transvaginal or transrectal. So we are going to be using this, and you're going to see these probes as we develop the course. So, in summary to this introduction, here are the learning tip. Start by understanding the nomology, machine controls, gain depth, focus, frequency, TGC, and basic artifacts. Hands-on practice with a simulator or supervised scanning is the best way to learn. These notes provide a fundamental overview. For deeper study, refer to standards texts such as ROMAX, diagnostic ultrasound or online resources from societies like the American Institute of Ultrasound Medicine, AIUM, or the British Medical Ultrasound, BMUS. So This is what we are going to be doing. I'm going to give you some other sources that you can complement on, or you can read on as we build our course block by block. So I thank you so much and welcome to the introduction to basic ultrasound. Thank you so much. Let's meet again in the next lecture as we start to put flesh to everything so that it can make sense. Enjoy your day. Thank you so much. Bye.